Hey, behind the camera, y'all. Just hasn't been in the mood to be on camera lately. And it has been so cold outside, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all the beautiful view. It's freezing, like so cold that schools are canceling and stuff like that. It's very, very bad outside, y'all. Ignore the heater. Have you heard about parents for drugs? Have you heard about parents selling kids for drugs? All right, y'all. So, pardon the sound of the heat. Hi, Martin Johnson. I'm doing good. I'm in my pajamas, Martin. I have been home. We have been home. It's been so cold here in Ohio, freezing. Like schools are canceled and everything. School's already canceled tomorrow. Okay. Today was already like an off day, but tomorrow is, so it's freezing, like negative degrees. Yes, it's very beautiful, but it's so cold. You don't want to be outside. Like you will freeze on impact probably. I don't know. So today's topic is about an article that I found, and you guys, January and January is Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. So I want to bring another story to y'all live that I found. I'm going to read the article and then we're going to talk about it. But it says FBI exposes alarming trend of parents trafficking own children for drugs in El Paso. Okay, so I'm going to read that article. We could talk about it. But yes, Martin, the view is beautiful, and I really appreciate you coming into the live. I appreciate you giving me a like, participating in the poll, and letting me know that the view is beautiful. Hi, Virus. Sam, right? Sam, I didn't understand your comment when you said something, I wait snow or something. Or I'm something snow. What were you saying about the post? I really didn't understand. So that's why I said, huh? Yes, hi, Virus. So I would really appreciate if you guys participate today. We're talking about parents selling their children for drugs, y'all. It's a thing. It happens. I've heard about it happening years ago, and it's still happening now. Clearly, mental health is the big issue, but it's sad that a parent feels that they need to sell their children for drugs. That's how much drug takes over people's minds, and clearly their mental health was failing, and that's why they end up taking the drugs for some relief, and then they're selling their children. That's horrible. I would rather give my child up for adoption or whatever, give someone that could care for them to sell them drugs, but I'm not going to. Drugs have never been a thing for me because I was one of those people that I really took to the Just Say No to Drugs campaign that was going on in the 90s. I was, it worked for me. So I just never was attracted to drugs. I was afraid of it. So, I can't judge anyone who felt like they needed to take drugs because of their mental health and whatever happened to them, whatever traumas. But it's just, I've had a lot of trauma in my life, but I was never attracted to drugs. I'm so glad the campaign was around for me. That's one thing I'm thankful for. I wish it was other things that helped me, but I never was attracted to drugs because of me not wanting to be out of my mind. I love my mind. I love my brain. Sometimes my anxiety gets to me, but overall, I'm thankful for my brain, and I don't want anything to take over my mind. I like the idea of thinking clearly as much as possible. You told me that you would sell snow for me. Oh, okay. So you said you want some snow. I guess it was just a typo. Yes, I've heard some in the news, but rarely. It's not talked about enough, Martin, but the FBI is bringing it up lately. It's very unfortunate. I don't know anyone personally who was sold for drugs. I don't know anyone personally who have been, who sells children. I would never be associated with anybody that's selling their children for drugs, period. A lot of this stuff happens behind closed doors. No one's talking about it, but let's talk about it today, y'all. So I'm going to read this article, and you guys feel free to put your input in. If I feel like it, maybe I'll come on camera for a second. I don't know, for a glimpse, but I'm just in my pajamas. I've been in my pajamas for days. We wear pajamas day and night. We wear it in the day, take a shower, go to bed, put more pajamas on. I know many people can relate, so it's not unheard of. Many people are just chilling at home, especially if you live in a cold area and you work from home. Why not be comfortable at home in pajamas? Why dress up for what? Why waste clothes? So I feel like it's crooked. Ugh. Okay. Still crooked to me. I don't know. I'm trying to fix it. Anyway, y'all, it's a beautiful view. I'm gonna stay live for at least, before it gets too dark. So we're gonna get into the topic. Give me a moment to put up some stuff out of my way, and then we're gonna get into the topic. I appreciate anyone who's in this live stream. You guys go ahead and answer the poll. Have you heard about parents selling children for drugs, y'all? It's a real thing. It's not in the movies. It's real life. There's children in danger right now, and their biggest enemies are their parents, y'all. The biggest enemy. You don't want the rest of this popcorn? Are you done with the popcorn? Are you done with the popcorn? Well, next time throw it away. I got an icebox where it used to be. I'm so cold. I'm so cold. I'm so cold. All right, y'all, let's get into this topic. All right, I'm going to read this article. I will link the article in the description when I'm done with this live, so if you guys want to read up on it. And I'll also show the article on the screen. Okay, so this article is from news4sanantonio.com, okay? FBI exposing alarming trend of parents trafficking own children for drugs in El Paso. It's by Salida Madrid. It was posted Monday, January 20th, 2025. So that was just yesterday, y'all. I will be reading this article, and I will post the link in the description so you guys could check out the full article. All right. There's a video, I believe, that's attached, but I'm not going to play the video. I'm just going to read the article. So El Paso, Texas. This is from KFox14. Shout out to KFox14 for doing this story. I really appreciate it. So human trafficking, like I said before, y'all, January is National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. So let's do our best to spread awareness about this horrible situation. There are many people who are being held captive, being slaves, for labor and also for sex, and many are children. It's very unfortunate. Anyone could be a victim of human trafficking, men, women, no matter the age, but a lot of times it is children and women. So it says, and a lot of times it's because of poverty. A lot of poor people, impoverished, end up in this situation. Also, you can see people who are on drugs. A lot of times people are out of their minds. I'm not making excuses for them, but a lot of people are out of their minds on the drugs, and they're so high that all they care about is the next high, and they don't even see their children anymore. So I'm going to read the article. Human trafficking continues to devastate lives across the country, and the FBI is shedding light on the issue in the El Paso community this month. FBI Special Agent Jeanette Harper emphasized the disturbing trend of parents trafficking their own children for drugs. So this is a quote. We do see quite a bit where we have parents that are trafficking their children in sexual acts so they can receive drugs off the street, Harper said. She described the betrayal as heartbreaking, noting the severe mental and emotional trauma inflicted on the children. Can you imagine that, y'all? It says, it's just hard that parents are more concerned about getting drugs and basically torturing their children for the rest of their lives. Harper said, the person that you should trust the most as your mom and your dad, and they're giving you to people for sex. Horrible. I did a story about it a while ago about a woman who was sold for drugs. Heartbreaking story. I did end up deleting that video because it was copywritten stuff, and I'm trying not to put straight up somebody's whole video in my post. I'd rather just read an article, share an article. It's less risky. And I always try to leave a disclaimer for the fair use. And you can only hope that it works, right? Let me finish reading the article. Harper, Harper explained that traffickers often use their own homes or cheap motels for these acts, driven by the need to fund their drug habits. If their main goal is to get money for drugs, then they're not going to go to a hotel or a very expensive hotel or Airbnbs, she said. The FBI is working alongside nonprofits. I'm sorry. The FBI is working alongside nonprofits like the Paso del Norte Center of Hope to combat human trafficking through education and support services. Nicole Schiff, the executive director of the Center of Hope, highlighted the prevalence of trafficking in El Paso, comparing it to major cities like Houston and Dallas. Unfortunately, Texas is ranked second in the nation for trafficking, Schiff said. People in our region just aren't believing that it's here. So yeah, Texas, they said, is ranked second. So Texas is a big state. And Texas is really close to Mexico, and I've been hearing that a lot of trafficking is coming from Mexico, and that's very unfortunate. And I have been hearing Nancy Grace talking about it, about, the borders are basically not being protected, and these people are coming in to traffic people, and it's really a shame. So I hope, for that sake, that the borders are more protected when it comes to human trafficking. I'm all for people immigrating to this country for a better life, doing it the right way, but not coming here to traffic people is not right. Schiff noted that 92% of their clients in the past 2 years have been U.S. citizens, dispelling so I guess I'm wrong, y'all. Listen to this. Schiff noted that 92, so like I said before, this is what I've been hearing, so I can confirm it, but it says Schiff noted that 92% of their clients in the past 2 years have been U.S. citizens, dispelling the misconception that the border is the primary factor. So I stand corrected, y'all. They're saying the border is not the issue, because a lot of it is homegrown. I actually did read that in another article, but I also heard Nancy Grace talking about the border and people coming here from different countries. So it depends on who you talk to, but the facts are the facts right here. So the Center of Hope currently manages about 40 active cases with a wait list for services. Hi, Trey28. I'm talking about human trafficking. There are parents who are selling their children for drugs. So we're talking about that topic. You can go ahead and answer the poll. You can like this video. I'd really appreciate it. Please subscribe. I'm a survivor of childhood trauma, and I like to bring stories about survivors and just education about just what survivors go through, what victims go through. So that's what I'm talking about, okay? So I'm reading the article. It says, we've had a case where the dad was the trafficker, Schiff said. We've had a case where mom sold her daughter to a trafficker for the money because she needed it for drugs. The Center of Hope connects survivors to legal aid, support, and education programs, empowering victims to rebuild their futures. Both the FBI and advocates stress the importance of reporting suspicious activity promptly. There are a lot of legal reporting requirements for individuals that are either teachers, doctors, just caregivers in general, Harper said. If they observe their child or they believe that they're a victim of sexual abuse, they are legally required to report that to somebody within 24 to 48 hours. For those in need of help, contact local authorities, the Paso del Norte Center of Hope, and the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. I'm going to repeat that, y'all. Let me see this. So if you or someone you know is a victim of human trafficking, please contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. I think there's even a number you can text. I'm going to try to find it, y'all. But here's the number right here. Down there. Okay? 1-888-373-7888. I'm going to try the number you can text actually as well, because sometimes it's more convenient. I did a story about a, I'm gonna tie it to this video. There's a story that I did about someone who was a victim of human trafficking, and she spoke Spanish, and she was unable to make a call because she was in the car with the trafficker, and she didn't want to, let them know. So she ended up having to text. I believe she texted 911, and they were able to use some type of translator to help her get help. So she was actually rescued. So you can actually text 911, y'all. You can text 911. So I think you just text them whatever and just text it to the number 911. It's not available in all areas, but it's better to try than not to try. Okay, y'all. So if you're in a situation and it's emergency and you can't remember the national um human trafficking hotline, just text 911. Maybe text help me, I'm here, this is my name, and then text it to 911. It's better to try it. Like I said, it's not fully available in some areas. It's limited in some areas, but it's available in a lot of places, so don't be afraid. So like I said before, the National Human Trafficking Hotline is 888-373-7888. You can also text the word info, that's I as in ice cream, N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, O as in octopus, to 233-733, okay? I'm gonna put it on my screen so y'all can see that right there. But it's very unfortunate that mental health is very important, and it's not, oh my gosh, not enough people are getting the help that they need, because clearly you're not mentally sound. You're mentally not there for you to want to do drugs, want to be so high that you're selling your own child, a child that you birthed, a child that you helped to create. You're selling them for money, for drugs. You're putting them in situations where they're just being used for sex. You're making your children be prostitutes basically for sex, so you can get drug money. It's not worth it. The damage that you're doing to your child is gonna last a lifetime. That's the ultimate betrayal. Like the article was saying, a parent is supposed to love, a parent is supposed to protect their child. So if your parent is selling you for drugs or something else, I don't know how you, that's, like I said before, you got to have a big heart, like, to be able to forgive something like that. That's so hurtful. Your own parent, your own guardian sold you for drugs. And some people could have a compassion for them, like, oh, well, they were drugged out, so you understand why they were like, nah. I mean, that's why, like I said before, like, it's hard to judge people in those situations because I don't know what they've been through to make them want to get on drugs, to get to the point where they're so strung out on the drug that they're selling their own child. But that's why it's just better. Prevention is better than the cure. It's better to just not get on the drugs. You have to get help, y'all. I know life is hard. Trust me, I've been through a lot myself. When I was younger, like I said, I've been through a lot of trauma. But when the Say No to Drugs campaign went around in schools, it was effective for me. It worked for me. I was not interested in drugs because of how they showed me how it affected your brain and how it affected your mind. I was like, yeah, I'm saying no to drugs. I stood away from it, and for those of you who tried it before and it didn't affect you, then I'm glad that you were able to survive it and not be strung out on drugs. Because some people, they try it one time and they're hooked for life, and there's some people who try it and then they are able to survive. Not many people can say they try, because some people have a very addictive, I don't know, some people get, I guess, the way your body's made up, you can be more addicted than some people. You're more susceptible to being addicted. And I'm glad that I just never was interested, because I just feel like, I probably would have been one of the people who've been addicted to drugs and been on the street selling my body. I grew up around women, seeing them on the street selling their bodies for drugs, and they had children. They had so many children. No birth control was being used. I remember a story. This is hearsay, but I heard where I grew up, on the street, one of the streets that I grew up on. I overheard someone saying that a woman, they called her a crackhead. That's a very offensive term, but basically she was addicted to crack. They said that she did something very inappropriate with an animal for drugs. I guess somebody dared her to do it, and she did something inappropriate for drugs. That's how high and addicted she was. I don't know that it's any truth to that. It's not impossible, but she was always pregnant. And I remember somebody seen her in the corner store when I was in there one time. I was very young. And they was like, you always pregnant. You stay pregnant. People just laughing at her, making fun of her instead of trying to help her. They're laughing at her. And it's very unfortunate that some people would rather use you and abuse you than try to help you. But when someone is really that addicted, they're just so far gone. When it comes to drug addiction, it's a tough situation, and someone has to want to get help, because you can, like that saying says, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. So you can want someone to get help. You can say, hey, look at your children. What about your children? Look out for your children. But they're so high off the drug, they're so gone. There's no coming back from that. So shout out to anyone who is have been addicted to drugs for many years and now is drug free. There was somebody who came in my live stream a while ago. I don't know where she went to. I hope she's well. But she said she was clean for years after being addicted. Life can be that hard that you run to drugs for an escape, for relief, but it's only temporary. You're always going to be chasing that high, and it's not worth it. So it's not like you take the drug and it's going to cure all your problems and pain. And that's what the drug makes you think. The drug tricks your brain to thinking that, oh, this is what you need, but it's temporary. You're always gonna have to chase the high. You're always gonna have money to buy it, and then you end up doing inappropriate things, putting yourself in compromising situations for the drug. It's just not worth it. And I have a lot of respect for people who end up getting addicted to drugs and have the common sense enough to give their children away, whether it's to the state or someone who they think will care and love for them. I would rather that than you keep your children in your custody and you're selling them for drugs. You're selling their bodies for drugs. It's not right. And unfortunately, sometimes when children are taken from the home by the state, they end up putting in bad situations as well. So not every time someone is put in foster care that they're in good hands. There are some foster parents who are abusive and don't make it any better. So a child was let the bad situation then to go into another bad situation. There are even some people who adopt children that are abusive. So for those of you who are in foster care or you're adopted and you had a good experience, I'm happy for you, because I've heard a lot of cases where it's not a happy experience. There's abuse, there's neglect, starvation, all kind of things that goes on, and it's a lifetime of trauma. It's like you have that void, like, dang, the people who were supposed to love me didn't love me, then the other people who were supposed to help me didn't help me. Some people get into foster care in adoption for the wrong reasons. They go in it sometimes for money, even though the money is a little bit. They go in it sometimes just for recognition. And sometimes they go in it to abuse children, like take advantage of children. So my heart goes out to any child who's in foster care, who are being abused, any child who's been adopted by an abusive parent. It's horrible, crying out for help and nobody's listening. It's just sad how children are ignored every day. They're the most precious, they're the most important people, in my opinion, because they are the future. Like I said before in one of my other lives, the children that you're mistreating today might be the ones that's wiping your butt tomorrow. So treat them good. Treat your future caretakers good. You know what I'm trying to say? And I'm not saying that's the only reason why you should treat them good. Treat children good because that's how you want to be treated. Treat children the way you wanted to be treated as a child, not how you were treated. You can't keep repeating these cycles because somebody else abused you, someone else did you bad, you're going to do other children bad. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? At a certain point, you have to grow up and learn that what happened to you was wrong and you need to do better. So it just needs to be more on the ground, volunteers, and not just volunteers, but like the government needs to be more involved in helping these children who are in a vulnerable situation with their parents selling them for drugs. Prevention is better than anything. So, a lot of people end up getting on drugs. There's a lot of reasons why people end up getting on drugs. Trauma, poverty. So jobs will be important. Mental health will be important. So until those issues are addressed, until the money is put into those kind of areas, it's going to be a problem, So it's not an easy fix. But if people care about children, it goes to show you the way the children are treated lets you know how their community cares about children. If children are being neglected and abused at an alarming rate, it lets you know that the children in that society is not being cared for properly. Children, honestly, I feel like they should be treated like royalty in a way. Not to make them feel like they can't do no, like they can't do no wrong and they can't face any consequences. Yes, teach them properly, but you can't neglect children because society will collapse. There's no hope for society when we're not treating the people who are going to be leading the future. If we're treating them bad, what hope do we have? Children are the hope for the future. Hopefully you guys are understanding what I'm saying. But it's a national problem. It's not just a Texas problem. This story came from Texas, but it's a problem everywhere. It's not just in America as well. It's all over the world. Slavery and human trafficking is a worldwide problem, and not enough people care. Too many things are being ignored and going under wraps. I'm the kind of person, I always say, if you see something, say something. If someone looks like they might be a victim of human trafficking, report that. Don't just be like, oh, let me mind my business. Like I always say, there's way too many people minding their business. So I'm going to look up the signs that someone is being trafficked, okay? Signs, and then I'm going to read that to you, to look out for that stuff, y'all. I hope everybody's doing okay. It's very cold outside, y'all. It's just one of those days I want to be behind the camera. I've been in my pajama all day, like I said earlier. I'm just not in the mood to be on camera. I'm so happy to have this beautiful view. I'm so happy that it's not dark yet, so you guys can just listen to me talk, and listen to the story or the information. So I'm going to look up signs of human trafficking, okay? So we need to all know this. This needs to be posted in every bathroom, every airport. And I think some of these airports are actually posting numbers to call if you are a victim of human trafficking and your trafficker allows you to use the bathroom. I think there's numbers in the bathroom to let you know that you can call it, or something you can do to alert someone that you're a victim. I love that. So I think that every airport needs to have information, every train station, every bus station, every taxi, every Lyft. You know what I'm trying to say? Every school, every mall, everywhere there are people, there needs to be signs and information about being a victim of human trafficking. People need to pick up on the signs. More needs to be done. And I want to be a part of that change. I want to make my time on earth valuable, but I don't want to just be here breathing air and taking up space and I'm not helping nobody. I want to benefit not just my children, myself, and other people, especially children, y'all. I love children. I was a child and I was neglected. I was abused and no one looked out for me. So I try my best to look out for other children. So let's read this. So who is most vulnerable for human trafficking, okay? It says anyone can experience trafficking in any community, just as anyone can be the victim of any kind of crime. While it can happen to anyone, evidence suggests that people of color and LGBTQ plus people are more likely to experience trafficking than other demographic groups. Generational trauma, historic oppression, discrimination, and other societal factors and inequities create community-wide vulnerabilities. Traffickers recognize and take advantage of people who are vulnerable, y'all. So like going back to me, I've had a lot of trauma in my life and I was a vulnerable population. I'm so glad that I didn't end up in the hands of a trafficker, y'all. But low key, I feel like I was trafficked in a way, y'all. I mean, the way, I'll get into that another time, but you know, yeah, I'll get into that another time. Let me see. So it says people may be vulnerable to trafficking if they have an unstable living situation, okay? I'm reading this part right here. I'm going to link everything in my description, all right? So people may be vulnerable to trafficking if they have an unstable living situation. Also, have previously experienced other forms of violence, such as sexual abuse or domestic violence. Also, have run away or are involved in the juvenile justice or child welfare system. Yeah, I do remember that children, for example, who are involved in foster care are high risk for human trafficking. A lot of times they're running away, trying to get to their other parent or get to another family, because, you know, who wants to be in foster care? So a lot of these children are trying to run away, trying to find their family, even if if their family is abusive, and in the process they end up being on the street or whatever and being a victim of human trafficking. Let me see. Next, it says, another vulnerable population is people who are undocumented immigrants. I've heard about that. People forcing them to work, and people not wanting to get in trouble, and people not wanting to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word, but people not wanting to be sent back to their country, they'll end up being quiet and just, so, you know, just be quiet about the abuse because they don't want to be, what's the word, y'all? Y'all, if you guys leave a comment if you know the word I'm looking for when you get removed from a country. Okay, I can't think of it. I'll think of it later. Deported. So immigrants who don't want to be deported, you know, they're undocumented, they'll just deal with the abuse a lot of times because they don't want to have to leave, because they probably feel like being in this country is better than, you know what I'm saying, being where they came from. Unfortunately, that's really sad. Also vulnerable are people who are facing poverty or economic need. Another vulnerable population are people who have a caretaker or family member who has a substance use issue. Yep, just like we were just talking about. Children who are being sold for drugs by their parents, they're vulnerable. Also, people who are addicted to drugs or alcohol are victims of human trafficking, because a lot of times people are so addicted to drugs that they'll do anything just to be on the drug. It says, who are the traffickers? There is no evidence that traffickers are more likely to be of a particular race, nationality, gender, or sexual orientation. They may be family members, romantic partners, acquaintances, or strangers. It's a lot of information on there, but I'm gonna try to read the most important one, okay? It's a lot on here. It says, how traffickers lure people in. Stories become weapons in the hands of human traffickers. Tales of romantic love, everlasting, or about good jobs and fair wages just over the horizon. Sometimes the stories themselves raise red flags. Other times, traffickers or potential traffickers may raise red flags during recruitment. Here are a few situations that might raise concerns. A would-be employer refuses to give workers a signed contract or asks them to sign a contract in a language they can't read. A would-be employer collects fees from a potential worker for the opportunity to work in a particular job. A friend, family member, co-worker, or student is newly showered with gifts or money, or otherwise becomes involved in an overwhelming, fast-moving, and asymmetric romantic relationship. Basically, the age difference is huge, or the financial situation is different. A friend, family member, or student is a frequent runaway and may be staying with someone who is not their parent or guardian. A family member, friend, or coworker or student is developing a relationship that seems too close with someone they know solely on social media. A family member, friend, or student lives with a parent or guardian and shows signs of abuse. A family member, friend, or coworker is offered a job opportunity that seems too good to be true. A family member, friend, or coworker is recruited for an opportunity that requires them to move far away, but the recruiter or prospective employer avoids answering their questions or is reluctant to provide detailed information about the job. So I'm going to leave the link in the description because it's a lot of information. But listen for the signs, y'all. If something feels right, it's probably not right, y'all. If someone seems timid, they're afraid, the relationship seems uncomfortable, you know, if the victim is not doing a lot of talking, the other person is doing all the talking, like, oh, you're like, hey, Susie, how are you doing today? And Susie don't answer. Oh no, she's shy, she's quiet. And Susie looks pretty capable of talking. The trafficker is probably talking for the for the victim, and they don't want to raise any red flags by having the victim speak. So that's a sign right there, y'all. So like I said before, I more airports, more transportation places, anywhere there's a large group of people going all the time, needs to be more signs, more information about what to do if you're a victim, how to escape. More staff needs to be trained about what to look for, what questions to ask. When someone is always speaking for someone and they are able to speak English, like, what's the issue? And obviously there needs to be more interpreters around. And nowadays there's so many apps that can interpret for people. But interpreters are very necessary, because that's a way to speak to someone in their language so that they can, like, tell you what's really going on. They probably, someone who speaks a different language probably is afraid to, they don't know what to do because they can't speak English. They feel defenseless. Like, I can't speak English, I don't know how to tell these people, or I can't speak the particular language of the area that I'm in, so I don't know how to tell these people that I'm a victim. It's very important to learn, like, basic signals of help. I don't know. Let me see if there's a sign. National symbol for help. Let me look that up. I know there's a domestic violence symbol. Okay, I found it, y'all. So there is a signal that you can use to alert someone, or if someone is alerting you that they're in trouble, pay attention to that, y'all. And if you're a victim, I'm gonna go ahead and show it to you, okay? So it looks like this. This is like a national way to let people know that you're a victim of abuse. Okay, so you put your thumb in and you put your the four fingers down. So thumb is in, the other four fingers go up and down. You see that the thumb stays in place while the other fingers go up and down. So if you see someone doing that kind of symbol, please report it. And if you are a victim, please memorize this technique so you can alert someone if you're able to. Do it safely, because we don't want your captor or your trafficker to be alerted and they try to harm you and make things worse. It also looks like this. But yeah, I'm glad they came up with something, y'all. I'm really glad. So I'm going to do it with my own hands. So this is how you can do it with your own hands, to let people know. But it's very unfortunate, y'all. It happens every day. Your neighbor might be, a victim. Someone you never know. If you see something, say something. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. If you were a victim of human trafficking, y'all, you would want someone to help you. So try to help people. I think too many people are minding their business. That's not my business. That's not my business. And honestly, I'd rather you be wrong about a situation than to ignore it. And then somebody really is a victim and they don't get the help that they need. Time is critical when it comes to human trafficking. Time is critical. So if you see something's off, please report it. And if you don't remember the human trafficking hotline number, just call 911, y'all. You can call or text 911. Let me see the poll right now. So I asked, have you heard about parents selling kids for drugs? 70% of you said yes, and 30% of you said no, and 10 people answered the question. So I've heard about it before. I've done stories about it before. Very unfortunate. It's just some parents don't care about their children, whether it's drugs or just mental health issues or a combination of the two. And children are so vulnerable, and they are just, they're high risk. So if you hear anything about children, y'all, or just people in general, please do your best to educate yourself about human trafficking. Try to help someone, because anybody can be a victim, y'all. Men or women, boy or girl. And I'm going to look up who are Human trafficking demographic. Trafficking and see who are the victim. It's mostly women and children last time I checked. Human trafficking demographics. It says um let me try to find it. Okay. Ooh, let's see. Okay, so according to this, it says trafficking victims can be women, men, boys, and girls. It says 51% are women, 21% are men, 20% are girls, and 8% are boys, y'all. So, like I said before, anyone could be a victim of human trafficking, but it happens mostly to women. Okay, it's high in women, men as well, and then there's children, and then there's boys. Um, and it looks like most people are victims of sex trafficking. Then comes labor, and then some are a combination of sex and labor, and some are just not specified. But it looks like people are mostly are used for sex when it comes to human trafficking. And the recent story I talked about, or I did, it was a survivor of human trafficking. She talked about that she knows that when people think of human trafficking, they think of sex trafficking. And she was saying like she was not. She made that clear. Like it was labor. She was free labor. They made her work and clean or whatever else they had her doing from the age of 8 or 9. I'm gonna also attach it to this live. It was my most recent video. I do need to do more videos, y'all. I go live more than I make videos. I'm gonna attach it to here. But I'm so happy that she made it through. You know, it took a long time. She didn't escape from foster care until she was 21 years old. But all her, I believe her captors, her abusers end up facing prison time. I think they were in prison for 17 years, which is not long enough. To me, that should be an automatic life sentence. Um, but you know, it's unfortunate that she was a victim of human trafficking, a victim of labor trafficking. But I'm so glad that she was not a victim of sex trafficking as well. You know, it would have made the situation even more worse. Because imagine catching some type of disease, or you know, especially if it's uncurable, and maybe possibly getting pregnant. You know, horrible. So I'm glad that she was able to escape that. Um, and I just hope she's to this day getting the help that she needs. That's a lifetime worth of mental health services. When you experience some traumatic experiences like that, you need to continue making sure your mental health is good, because you could you can easily slip into depression and feeling bad about what happened to you, and you just you know you can go on to drugs or be so depressed that you don't care about your life and maybe even take your life. And like I always say, y'all, if you or someone you know is a victim of, not a victim, I'm sorry, if you or someone you know is experiencing any suicidal thoughts or feelings, please call or text the number 988. Please call the number 988 is for suicide prevention and also any crisis that you might be going through. I think that's mainly in the US though. I really wish they would come up with an international number, but I know that every state, I mean, not every state, every country is different. But I hope everybody's doing okay. I mean, if you guys want to come into the live and leave a comment, let me know how you feel about this. If you're viewing this right now, I'd appreciate your support. But I understand just your view alone is helpful to my channel. But yeah, if I get off live, I'm gonna wash up these dishes, and I have some soup to make, y'all. Make some soup finally, and you know, get ready for tomorrow. Like it's so cold outside, y'all. Let me show you how cold it is. It's 8 degrees right now, and it says it feels like -4. And it's going to get even worse. Tonight around 12 a.m. it's going to be -1, -2, -3. And then tomorrow, you know, the high, y'all, is only going to be 16 degrees. I'm not looking forward to going outside tomorrow, but I do have to go outside tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm going to be layering up, double layer, triple layer, whatever I need to do, and even wearing Vaseline. I'm going to make sure my son is all Vaseline up and I'm all Vaseline up. Yeah, it's very cold, Martin. Look, I'm not joking. Okay, it's cold. It's cold outside. Let me see. It says cloudy conditions expected around 6 p.m. Feels like, yeah, like it's so cold that they're telling us that we need to make sure that we're making the faucets drip, leave the cabinets open because of fear of the ice of the pipes freezing and bursting. And I'm a renter, so they want to make sure they're protecting their property. Hi, Nia. Girl, I'm just here talking about human trafficking. I shared a article about parents selling their children for drugs. All over the nation it's a problem, but this article was from Texas. Yeah, parents are so strung out on drugs, so focused on drugs, so out of their minds that they're selling their children for sex so they can get drug money. So unfortunate. I responded, no, I never heard parents selling drugs, but I have heard from mom selling her child for sexual favors and use of money for drugs. I mean, pretty much. Yeah, it happens a lot. I did an article, not article, I did a story a while ago about it. Um, I deleted that video since, but yeah, she was sold to a man when she was like 13, maybe years old. Sold to him for sex, and she ended up having several children by him. Her parents is basically like, pack your bags and go. Despicable, and they're not worthy of being called. They're not. A real parent looks out for their children. People like to give some parents credit, and I feel like a lot of old school parents like to give themselves so much credit for, oh, I put clothes on your back. Oh, I put food on the table. Oh, we went hungry. Oh, you went to school. But it's more to a child than going to school, having food in your stomach, and having clothes on your back. You have to care about their mental and emotional health. That's more important than anything else. I will always say I would rather have been homeless and been a little bit hungry, but had parents who cared about me. And a parent who cares about you gonna make sure you eat, though. Real talk. And I know that poverty is a thing, and some people are struggling, but as a parent, number one priority is to protect your children, physical, mental, and emotional health. You know, your child shouldn't be starving neither. You got to provide food for them and housing. But if you can't do anything, please make sure they're not being vulnerable to predators. And a lot of these parents who are selling their children for sex are poor, or on drugs. And a lot of times they're on drugs because they're poor. And it's crazy because you would think that being poor, how you're affording drugs, but that's how some people are affording drugs. They're selling their bodies or they're selling their children. So if you see someone who has a drug problem and they have children, y'all, that's a red flag right there. Look out for the children. Look out for the children are in bad situations because of parents. And I think that so many states and so many places are so into family reunification. They want to make sure the child stays with their parent, but some parents are just not mentally there. Some parents are not capable of taking care of their children. Them being on drugs is a cry out for help. So I have more respect for you if you're on drugs and you sign your rights away and say, I can't do it. Like the story I did about Naziah Harris. Unfortunately, she didn't have a good ending to her story. Naziah Harris, her mother, from what I've heard, is a drug addict. Her dad ended up signing his rights away to her grandmother. So Naziah Harris was given rights away. She lived with her mother's mother, and the grandmother had many children and many children, and she did not protect Naziah Harris, and Naziah Harris was sexually abused by her aunt's boyfriend, her baby daddy. She had 5 children. The man had like 13 plus children, I believe. And so basically, in my opinion, Naziah Harris was a victim of human trafficking because he would take her from her home at times and bring her to his mechanic shop and have sexual relations with her. Sexual abuse. So I feel like he should get another charge for human trafficking. So he's in prison right now. He's in jail right now. And Naziah Harris, her body was never recovered. It's giving very much probably human trafficking. All the text exchange communication was all about sex. Meet me down here, take off your clothes, I got your pants. Everything was sexual. It was not normal. It wasn't like, hey, how you doing today, I brought you some food, or are you doing okay in school. It was strictly for sex. This man used this young girl, used up her body, and when he got her pregnant on purpose, because if you're not wearing condoms and you're sexually abusing somebody, you're purposely destroying their life. He got her pregnant, and now he tried to perform, apparently, allegedly, he tried to perform an abortion on her, and it went wrong, and so he killed her. And they're all acting like they don't know what's going on. Nia says, I saw some cops inside the platform and told one cop, crazy world we live in and crazy dangerous times we live in. Yeah, exactly, because they are very addicted to drugs. That's why. Yeah, they are, Martin. Truly sad. I am doing all I can to get my youngest and my son out of New York. Many drug addicts. It's sad. Yes, I know people love New York City, but I've never been attracted to New York. I grew up on the East Coast. I didn't live in New York, but I visited New York. Let's say 3 times my whole life, right? And I've never been attracted to it. It's too busy. It's too crowded. It's too much going on. And from this TV and what I've heard and news, and I'm just not. But there's some people who love New York. Oh, New York, the city of lights. New York that never sleeps. I've never been attracted to New York. It's too much going on over there. It's too tight. It's too small. It's just, I can't function like that. I need space. Nia says, I was living in Europe and someone told me to come here and I said yes. Well, hopefully you get to go to Canada very soon, Nia. I've only recently heard little tiny problems that they say that Canada has, So Canada is a great country, but every country has their problems. But Canada's problems are not so huge. I believe their problems are less than America. But speak to someone who's in Canada. They'll tell you the real. But I've heard that one of the downsides of living in Canada is that because the healthcare is free, the taxes are high, everything is expensive. And then the wait list for getting to see a doctor can be very long. But I'm glad that they have universal health care. That's the only probably downsides I think I've heard. Sometimes I regret coming here, but it was planned for the God I believe. I feel you, girl. Nia says yes to join my husband. Yes, Canada is the new goal now. Thanks, sis, but it's also with problems as well. Yeah. Upstate New York, I heard, is a bit quiet. Yes, I've heard. And I was so shocked, Martin, that upstate New York is like kind of country, y'all. I was taking a trip to Connecticut one time, and I had to drive through New York State, and it's kind of, that was my first experience in New York State. It's so, it was giving country, like a very country vibe. The more you know. It's good to travel, y'all, so you can really learn. You can't just listen to other people here say. You have to actually be on the ground, drive through, fly through, and see what it's like. But yeah, I couldn't believe I was in New York State. I didn't know New York State was so, yeah. Because when I think of New York, all I think about is New York City. So my mind was very, closed-minded about it. But yeah, it was some scary stuff I drove through in New York State. But yeah, I bet New York State is quiet. It seemed quiet for the areas I went through, but it looked kind of scary. Like I wouldn't want to live there. Nia says my dream destination and country to live in tries Morocco and North Africa. Oh, that sounds nice. And you can do it. I don't know if I have a dream, y'all. I don't know where I want to end up retiring. Wherever my children want to go. Because I used to think like, oh, when my daughter is not, when the custody stuff is over, I would go wherever I want to. But I want to be near my children, and it's really where they want to go. I can't imagine living in a country or state away from them. So as long as my children will tolerate me, as long as they will have me, I want to live near them. Those are my babies. Those are my hearts. We don't got to live in the same home, obviously. They can live their own area. I just want to be in the same, at least, state, city, where it's within, short time to get to them, if anything. So as long as my children are okay with it, I'm going to live near them, wherever they want to go. But it's going to be somewhere warm. I don't want to live anywhere cold anymore. I'm so tired of it. My family immigrated to this country in the 90s, and on the East Coast, so it was cold, and then I end up over here in Ohio, another cold area. And I'm tired of the cold, so I'm looking forward to it. And my children are looking forward to it, too. We're looking forward to being in a nice area. I'm so sick of it. Nia says, okay, so I'm cooking. Talk later, my love. If you still awake, stop by 8 p.m. Eastern time. Live stream time. Is everything okay with you? I was gonna join your live stream last night, but you said you had an emergency. Is everything okay? Topic tonight: single mom life lessons. What I did to get where I am today. Advice and question A. You said you had an emergency, so I was planning on going to your live last night, and you said you had an emergency. I hope all is well with you. I would love to go to the island. You know, I was actually thinking about Barbados. Real talk. Barbados doesn't sound too bad, but I don't think my children want to go there. I think they want to stay in the U.S. But we will, you know, we have a few years to decide. I don't think I want to be in the U.S. anymore. I think I want to be completely done. But if I do stay in the U.S., maybe just anywhere that's nice temperature and it's not expensive to live, which is hard. Okay, you were sick. Okay. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm going to try to say this in French. De rien. I'm trying to say you're welcome in French. De rien. De rien. You know I'm working on my French, girl. I need to go practice tonight. Barbados, nice. Yes, I would need to visit there first to see how I feel. But I love how they basically denounced the queen and they're just doing separate things. And they seem like a very independent, look like they're doing good financially, economically. Yeah, I can't say it really well. De rien. I gotta practice. But I don't know yet. The sky's the limit. But you definitely gotta visit. You gotta visit anywhere you want to live first. Martin says the place that has that every season is best. No, not too hard to go. You think so, Martin? So Martin, where you suggest? Where would you live? I don't like every season, Martin, because I don't like the winter. Look how cold it is right here, Martin. It's freezing. -degrees. I don't want to go anywhere where it's -degrees. And I also don't want to go anywhere where it's a lot of natural disasters. You know what I'm saying? It looks like to avoid natural disasters, you have to live somewhere that's cold. Just keep practicing, girl. Thank you, Nia. I'm going to get off soon, y'all, so no worries. I'm going to get off in about 4 minutes. I really appreciate you, Nia, and Martin for being in the chat. I'm not getting off yet. I'm still here. I do need to cook as well, Nia. I'm going to cook some soup. I need to get a microphone so I can start talking to you all from the kitchen while I'm even showing you the view. I'm going to work on getting a microphone. But I'm going to be cooking. I'm going to cook some soup and cleaning up the kitchen. I was born in Africa, Senegal, and would love to go to Malaysia too, and also Indonesia. Yeah, I want to travel too. I wish traveling was free. I wish traveling was cheaper. I wish only people who couldn't travel freely were criminals, you know, abusers. I think anybody who's a decent human being should be able to travel free or very, like a cheaper rate. I know I'm probably sound ridiculous for saying free. Who travels for free? But it's just like traveling is such a, it's seen as a luxury, but it shouldn't be. I feel like traveling should be a right, but it's a privilege. Many people who have never even been out their own state, y'all. There are people who've never left the state that they live in. It's very sad. Thanks for reminding me. Yes, a mic is. I've seen so many people mic. Even Embracing Life has a mic. I believe I saw her with a mic. So I need to get one. I'm gonna ask her which one she has and which one does she like. It is terrible how expensive it can be, and you get some seat and different. Yeah, there's people who find ways to travel for cheap. Some people say get a credit card with all these different things, but I'm done with credit cards. 2025, I'm done with credit cards. I'm just working on paying off credit cards. I'm not gonna be doing anything with credit cards no more. I want to be cash only, debt free. So I'm working on debt freedom. I'm working on financial freedom because I want to retire at a decent age. I don't want to be working until 70 and all this other kind of age. I would love to retire. I can't even talk. I would love to retire by 55, 60. And even before that, I would love to. I don't want to work my whole life and then retire old and I have much time to be free. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'm working on my mental health always. My mental health is number priority. Working on my physical health. I'm not as active as I need to be, and working on financial freedom. I don't want to be a debt, a slave to credit cards. I wish I never was introduced to a credit card, y'all. I'm gonna go live about that one day, about how I was introduced to credit cards and just not being educated about it. You got into it, and now it's like a cycle of credit cards. And they say, oh, well, you need some credit, da, da, da. There's this person, I listened to her audiobook, and she talked about she's never had a credit card, but her husband actually had a credit card, and I forgot why he got it. But you can live life successfully without a credit card. Cash is king. I wish I was taught that at a young age. I wish I could go back in time. I'm going to teach it to my children. I want to make sure my children are not slaves to credit cards. They're not. They don't have any debt. You know what I'm saying? Other than maybe student loans, and even that, I don't want it to be too high for them. I got rid of my 4 credit cards and now paying off the rest of my debts. I'm so tired of finding. Yes, girl, I'm sick of it. And my new husband lost his job, so we are struggling. Girl, it's hard out here. But if you work as a team, you can do it. You can do it. I'm tired of it. Debt is slavery. So I'm finally, on board with it. Before I was like slow to it, but no, cash is king. Debt is whack. I don't want it no more. I still have time, and I don't want my children to fall into the cycle of credit card debt, and I want them to be just living life and traveling and being happy and not stressed out all the time. That's no way to live. Glad I am still working, but I wish I could earn more. Yes, working towards financial freedom. Yes, we must educate people about that. This country wants you to be in debt. Yes, they do, till you die. But yeah, do that, please. And no student loans. That's what. Yeah, I'm trying to talk to my kids now about you can be successful in life without student loans, and if you could find a way to not even have to go to college and still make money. There are people who have never been to college who are successful and rich. So college is not a necessity for everyone. It's not. If you want to go, yes, do the right way. Grants, scholarship, all that good stuff. You don't have to be a slave to the debt. You're signing your life away when you sign those papers. Yeah, I'm still paying too, girl. Yes, we doing things. He just started his own business and slow pick up soon. Good willing. Yeah, that is one reason I am also on YouTube, to get monetized soon. You will do it, girl. Going live is very important. So try to hurry up and get the amount of subscribers you need, Nia, so you won't have to go through StreamYard. It's better to go live directly on YouTube. Direct live stream on YouTube is better than the StreamYard. I'm not saying it doesn't help, but so I hope you get the subscribers you need. I think you need 50. I believe the last I checked, you need 50 subscribers to go live on YouTube. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the last I checked. You can do it, girl. You can do it. So making videos would be more convenient for me. I'm not convenient. Making videos would be good, and I see a lot of content creators have all this time on their hands to make videos. I don't have the time. I'm always busy. It's hard being a single parent. So going live is way more convenient for me, but I do want to take time to set aside to make certain videos of topics that I hold near and dear to my heart. I'm a survivor, and I'm always trying to share stories and my experiences. But going live, I can still get the message across going live. So, wow, I did not know live is better through YouTube instead of stream. Thanks for letting me. It is. It is. Because it's not. I can't explain it. YouTube, they prefer their own thing. I can't explain. I'm not getting my words right, Nia. But from my research, going live on YouTube is better than StreamYard. StreamYard is good for when you're already established YouTuber. You got the subscribers, you got the following. Yes, it's beneficial. You can have call-ins, all that stuff. But when you're just getting started, it's better to go live on YouTube. People see you more. You're into the algorithm thing with the live stream. I think you just got over 50 subscribers, so I will start using my phone. Okay. Doesn't make sense even once you do it. Exactly. And then you end up because basically when you're on live stream, when you go vertical, vertical, don't go horizontal, go vertical with your phone standing straight up, the regular way. Go live on that, so you'll be in the algorithm. So when somebody is going through other live streams, they'll see yours, and it's easy to be seen. So go live on YouTube. And make sure you don't have the phone to the side. Have it straight up the normal way you use a phone to talk. Vertical. Vertical is better than horizontal. You're not going to be in the algorithm the right way if you do it horizontal. No problem, girl. I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm living and learning myself, but that's what I have learned. So we're gonna get there one day at a time. So I'm gonna come off live. Thank you so much, Nia, for joining the live stream. I'll check out your live later. I'm gonna be cooking myself. I'm hungry and I need to clean up the kitchen and just getting ready for bed. You know, in a few hours, obviously, I'm gonna have my son practice his Duolingo. We're all learning French together. My daughter learns French in school. I'm learning on Duolingo. Recently started back again, and I've been learning on the Libby app, like different French programs and books and stuff like that, audiobooks. So, okay, girl, talk to you later. We are here to help each other and inspire each other to have you. Thank you, no problem. Abiento, Nia. Hopefully I said that right. Yay, woo, woo, you will get it just practice every day. I will. I know that you can't skip a practice. Martin, if you're still here, I really appreciate you. I'm going to end the poll. I said, have you heard about parents selling kids for drugs? Um, 58% of you said yes, and 42% of you said no. So I'm glad that most of you know that there are parents out there selling their children for drugs. And if those of you don't know, educate yourself, y'all. And if you see the signs, please say something. Don't just be like, it's not your business. It could be you that's being sold. It could be your child. It could be your child's best friend. Okay? It takes a village, y'all. All right. Yes, you too, perfectly champion. Merci, Nia. Merci. Merci. I feel like I messed that up too. Anyway, I'm good. Thank you, everyone who came to the live stream. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all later or another live stream.